Claudia Tenney, New York.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Troy. Congressman Nels, Andy Biggs, appreciate it. Congressman Fallon, all my colleagues for being here and highlighting this important issue. And I have to say, I have to echo the sentiments that it isn't just Secretary Mayorkas, it is also Joe Biden who ultimately bears the responsibility. They've had over 2 years to secure our border, and we're seeing this flow of illegal immigrants. 4.5 million, only 72,000 have been deported. That's less than 2% of people claiming to be coming across this border. They've actually made it worse. And I'm from New York State, which is a border state. Upstate New York is also bordering with Canada, and that's a whole issue we're going to talk about on another day. But I support this resolution in demanding the resignation and now the impeachment of Secretary Mayorkas. If he won't leave, we're going to have to impeach him, and a clear dereliction of duty. I also support the impeachment of Joe Biden. His policies, all their policies, have created this humanitarian and national security disaster, as you've heard detailed by my colleagues. But let me tell you a little bit about the small rural counties in upstate New York. We're the ones that had those night flights into Westchester County a couple of years ago that were highlighted by some officials that were secret. I led a letter with my colleague Elise Stefanik and our leadership team and other members of the New York delegation on getting full transparency from President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas on who are these people that are illegal immigrants that are coming to the state of New York. Just recently, we had a discovery that there were 35 Colombian illegal immigrants in the small hamlet of Jamestown, a population of 28,000 people. We don't know where they came from. We don't know anything about them. We don't know who's paying for it. But guess who is paying for it in the end, because the Biden administration is not being transparent about it? Our local taxpayers. And in New York, we face the highest tax burden of any state in the nation. Our local taxpayers still pay 1/2 of the Medicaid share that no other state imposes on their local communities as New York State does. So that translates into some of the highest property taxes in the state of New York. And a lot of you think, hey, Westchester, Long Island. Guess what? Upstate New York pays the highest per thousand rates on property taxes because of our low property values and our very high taxes. And that's because these burdens have been imposed on our taxpayers who have the least ability to pay. Last year, it's worthy of note, a Yemeni terrorist was apprehended at the southern border wearing a jacket representing an upstate New York ambulance service, something we think he must have gotten online. An Iranian citizen was detained yesterday who was on the terror watch list. Thankfully, there's one that they were able to get. I mean, this is happening every single day. And as I discussed these migrants in Western New York in Jamestown, I heard from the county executive this morning about who these people are, and he didn't even know, wasn't informed. Why isn't the Biden administration letting our local governments know who's there and why they're there? Every state in this country has become a border state, as we know. We're hearing about these flights everywhere. I visited the border as well, and when I went to the airport in El Paso, it was filled with people who were dressed in the clothes of illegal immigrants are issued at the border. I feel terrible as a mother of a son and a mom thinking about the human trafficking and the dangers to our children that have been described, not to mention the fentanyl overdoses that are overwhelming our communities. And it's the principal duty of our federal government to provide our national security. The reason New York didn't sign on to the Constitution until the very last hour in the 1700s was because of our desire to have sovereignty and to make sure that our federal government protected our national security and our national defense. That is not happening under President Biden or under this secretary, which is why I join with my colleagues in calling for the impeachment of Secretary Mayorkas. Let's hope he resigns today as a result of this press conference. If not, let's go forward with impeachment proceedings to make sure that we do something to protect our southern border, which is causing us great harm, not just to the security of our nation, but also to our taxpayers, and particularly those in upstate New York. It's a privilege to join with my colleagues, strong, courageous leaders who stand up for our country. And I think next, I believe, is Nancy Mace, or Eli. Now, Eli Crane. Happy to introduce.